Okay, hi everybody. My name is Richard.lesperance. I go by the name of my man Richard. Welcome to A Better Lifestyle. Today I have the pleasure to have Amir Elion with me. Welcome, Amir, to the podcast.
Hey, my man Richard, thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. So today we're gonna be talking about AI agents. So AI is the big thing right now. So it's evolving and evolving. So it's going pretty fast. Uh, so talk to us about, I wanted to discuss the topic of AI agent. What is most likely people are using probably Gen AI right now, so I'm not gonna go into that right now, but what is a AI agent?
Yeah, very good question and there's a lot of confusion out there about what an AI agent is and what it can do. The way that and there's not one agreed definition, so I'll just give my point of view on this. Um, most people have already used, chatbots like ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini. That's not an AI agent. It is powered by the similar technology. Um, the way that I define an AI agent is not just a tool that you ask questions and you get answers. It's almost like imagining it's a person that you can give a job to, and you don't have to explain very specific tasks. And every time, okay, write me this kind of document or analyze this sort of information. You define at the high level what you want that agent to achieve. It's almost like a job description, and with the underlying capabilities, it knows how to figure out the steps to get the thing done, the job done, and it also usually has some access to tools. So let me just unwrap this in a minute. So what do I mean by tools? For example, it can go and search things on the web and come back with some research and analyze that information that it got. It can go into your database and look up some information and maybe even update some information. So again, like a person that you would have in a certain job in your company or in your office, and you would say, listen, I need you to do some research on last month's information about our products and customers and come back with a report. So I just give it a high level description of the task and the job to be done. And then it figures out, okay, how should I go about it? Which of the tools should I use? So unlike, again, when you use a chat GPT or a similar tool, you need to tell it, okay, here's the document, look at this document, do this analysis. Then you as the human kind of guide it through the steps. An agent, on the other hand, would figure those steps by itself. Maybe it would, in some cases, it would ask for your confirmation or your input. Again, like a junior employee would do as well. Is this what you meant? Here's a plan. Do you concur? Is there something missing? So it's kind of working together with you to achieve the task that you defined at a high level. I hope that makes things a bit clearer and also differentiates what an agent is as opposed to like just a chat tool.
So it's like a digital worker.
It is, yeah, basically it comes with the name. Agent means it has agency. So
Mhm.
it can uh, make decisions, and you give it control and even can change things in the digital world currently for you. Maybe in the future, or we're already seeing some of this being connected to the physical world, like in robots or other systems. Currently, we're mostly talking about digital systems, yes.
So as a content creator myself, as a podcaster, give me an example of how can I use AI agent?
For example, I'm imagining you do research about your content, right? And there's certain topics that you're interested in or you think your audience is interested in. And it takes quite a lot of time to do that research and filter through it and understand which one is most interesting and then come up with some concepts about how to deliver that. You could build AI agents to do a big part of that work for you. So you could say, hey, these are the topics that I want you to do some research about. This is how I want, these are maybe the types of sources that I want you to look at. And this is the way that I expect to come for you to come back with some summary or suggestions or prioritizations for my next newsletter or podcast or whatever that content is that you're creating. And you would work together with that agent to have a clear definition of what is the input, what is the output, and also a bit how is it going to go about and come back with that result? But you would need to give it access. For example, I'll give you another. So if you're looking at your emails, right? You want your agents to sift through your emails and suggest which are the ones, and maybe even answer on your behalf. You need to give it access to your email account, right? So that's the tools part that I mentioned, right? Or if you wanted to post on your name in social media, you need to give it access to your social media accounts. So again, of course, that comes with a risk. That comes with some considerations that you needed to take into account. But yes, I hope that's kind of two examples. So managing your email, helping you do research for content generation.
When we speak about agentic AI, is it the same with AI agents or they're two different things?
Yeah, it's the same. The one thing I will say here, now we're starting to see what we call kind of teams of agents, right? So I mentioned just one agent that does one job, but there's cases where you can think, hey, why don't I have a whole team of different agents, each one with a different job definition, right? One does the research, one does the drafting of a content, one takes and edits or reviews, critiques the previous agent's handoff, right? So you could build a team of agents that are supporting, and now we're seeing more. It can even get to scientific level research. So I've seen cases where, with just minor human guidance, there's agents that go and do research about COVID virus variants and which new antidotes we could come up with in order to combat them, right? And there's one agent is the one who does the data science. Another one is the one who's supposed to do kind of the research about the proteins and how that antidote would work, et cetera, et cetera. And those agents would work together. There's an agent uh, um, professor or lead researcher there. There's an agent who's supposed to be the scientific critic, so they would go and kind of criticize the logic of the other agents, and you could go through loops. So you can get pretty complicated and sophisticated with those agents. And then the question is, okay, where is the human in the loop, and how are we part of those teams, and where is the important input and direction from the humans?
Do you have examples of companies that have set up that infrastructure?
Yes, I mean the example that I mentioned was is a research mentioned by Stanford University, if I remember correctly, and they November last year they did this research about agentic teams that went about this COVID solution. So that's one example that comes to mind. More um, in the private sector, I know there's a company. Just again, an example comes to mind that's called Blitzy, and they have an agentic teams that basically you connect them to their software engineering agent team, and it looks at massive code bases, and basically it doesn't wait for you to say, hey, there's this bug, I want you to fix it, or there's new feature that I want you to develop. Basically, it operates already proactively behind the scenes and scans the entire code base with multiple agents, and it even simulates creating new code. So once you come with a request, hey, I want this feature, it already iterated through different ways of achieving that request. So it anticipates what kind of features or capabilities you'd like to add, and it says, hey, there's three approaches. We've tried all these three already. We don't need to start now. You kind of hit the ground running with some things that the agents have already done. So just another very interesting example there.
What would you say are some limitations?
Yeah, there's this is a moving target, right? Where a lot of the things are happening very fast. Starting with the underlying foundation models that are coming out, weekly now, and are changing. So it's very hard to keep track of where are these models, what are these models good at, and where do they lack. And there are gaps. There is other cases or other limitations that they're called hallucinations. So sometimes if you need the outputs to be grounded in fact, the thing is that the models underlying these agents, they're essentially trained to, in almost every case, try to give you an answer, even if they don't have the information. That's how they're trained. They're rewarded for actually answering when they're trained. So it's very hard for these models, at least currently with the current technology, to say I don't know. It's also very hard to for some humans to say I don't know, but we it's probably easier than for the AI agents. So there's one risk there where you will get like, and it can still sound very confident, and provide like a lot of arguments why what's it saying is true, but basically it isn't. So that's called hallucination. It's kind of the common term. So hallucination is one risk. Another risk is because you're giving it access to tools and maybe private or sensitive information, then there's a security and privacy issue. So if you are using AI agents, either it's third-party tools or the ones you're building ones yourself, definitely something to consider. How are we guardrailing against, leakage of non-proprietary information, etc. There's interesting questions, not necessarily just to agents, but into AI in general about um, copyright, right? So if I'm telling copyright and IP, right? If I'm telling this agent to write this code for me or write this content for me, this doesn't fall under our regular legislative system for protecting humans who create content. So definitely, if you're a content creator, who owns this content? Who is responsible for it, right? Who's liable for it? Who can maybe sue somebody else who's taking this content and say, hey, you just used an agency, you didn't do it yourself. So how are you the owner of this content? So a lot of interesting questions that kind of bring up our underlying systems for legislation and protection and privacy. A lot of questions there.
How do you use AI agents in your world?
In my work. So first of all, let me say a bit what I do. So I now have my own company. It's called Think Big Leaders, and usually most of what I do is I help different companies, leaders of different sizes, work with AI and work with innovation. I've had experience in the past, both in large organizations such as Amazon Web Services, Motorola, Teva Pharmaceuticals, and in startups. So I kind of bring that into the play. Uh, so on my consulting side, when I do help customers, I often use different tools to help me prepare for those engagements. So I do a lot of research about the customer, the problem, the specific context, and then produce tools and activities and how artifacts that are part of that engagement. So it could be exercises, it could be analysis, it could be reports. Of course, because of the things that I said before, and because my customers need to trust me, I always review the output. I always direct it, and that's called having the human in the loop. So that's one on my consulting side. That's what I do. The other part where I've started to do, this year, 2025, I've started to build products that have either AI elements in them, and they help in different workflows, or even they have AI agents in them. I'll just give one example. So I recently launched something which I call Glory Hack. Your audience was welcome to try it out on gloryhack.com. Basically, it's an AI powered tool to help businesses create attention grabbing campaigns with the help of AI, and injected with award-winning templates that are used by the most leading advertising agencies in the world. So it's kind of the AI helps you converses with you, asks you what is your business, what is your product, what is the campaign that you want to run. So in a very similar way to that, like a human account manager from an advertising company would have with you, and then it creates a brief for the campaign based on this. And with the help of those templates that are research based and based on award-winning templates of advertising that has won awards, that people have actually spent more time on actually looking at those commercials, then it suggests the concepts for your campaign. Again, as a human, you have a choice to choose those concepts. You can choose which channels do you want this to be produced for, and then it goes off and creates the visuals for you, the visual assets for you with other AI tools. So that's an example, and I'm building more and more applications for use cases that I'm seeing with my customers where AI could help them grow their business, be it in marketing, sales, human resources, and different functions.
Do you think all industries can benefit from having AI agents?
I believe Mm, yes, the kind of the general answer is yes, but it's not a magic bullet. So I've worked with non-profit organizations. I've worked with governments on this. I've worked with private from startups to the largest multinationals and enterprises with AI. But I often when people come to me and say, "Hey, can we use AI or help us use AI?" Tell them, "Wait, let's not start with the technology. Let's start with what are you trying to achieve? Where are the friction points? What are the opportunities that you're missing? Possibly AI is part of the solution, maybe even a big part of the solution, but don't start with, hey, we want to do AI because everybody's talking about it, or because the board is asking us to do it, or the customers are pressing us to do it. Just use it where it's the right thing to do.
Is it hard for someone to create an AI agent if
I
they're not
think
if they're
tech,
not technical? Because I've touched a little bit on that a few weeks ago with a software. So I just want your take on
yeah,
your opinion.
so it's getting easier. It still requires some technical understanding. You don't need to be a software engineer anymore. I mean, in the past you had to be that and to have to understand the technology behind it. Today it's getting easier, and it's going to get even more easier because that's a lot of money and talent is going into those efforts. Um, I think if you want to do it, and first of all, get your toe in the water like you did, and start to understand and play with these tools. Even if you don't achieve anything which is production ready, you'll see the possibilities, you'll see the limitations. Like I'm assuming you have already seen, right? The quality and this and the how long how much work is needed on your side to make to make it work. Um, but you'll also start to get more ideas of, hey, actually this part it did well. Maybe I can just let it do this 25% of this work, which saves me so and so hours, and I'll take it from there, at least until it gets better on the other tasks, right? So definitely places to start, and it's going to get easier. Um, and you don't need to be technical. I'll just give you one example, right? A few weeks ago, I did an AI masterclass for about 80 business people and entrepreneurs, most of them non-technical, so come from marketing, sales, executive positions. And I taught them one of the tools there towards the end of the masterclass, which is called Base 44. I'm happy to put a link on your show, where allows them to build applications just by talking to the tool. Okay, they say, okay, I need, and it could be internal applications, it could be something they put in front of customers, um, and within 1 hour after we did some other stuff during the day. The last hour was building these applications with this AI agent tool, and they just talk to it, and I've seen some things come out. So I'll just give you one example. One of them was, uh, I think he was in construction or insurance around, real estate and things like that, and they were able to build an application where you take a photo of a room or an apartment, and you get an assessment based again on his knowledge of how that agent should analyze such things for the insurance or for the renovation or whatever it was, right? And non-technical at all, just talking to this tool and explaining this is the process we go through when we do such a business engagement. These are the inputs. This is the image. These are the questions that you should ask, and this is the output that you should create based on those inputs, right? And that he did a first version in 1 hour, and then a few months later, I spoke to another person from that masterclass. She's already released two customers uh, tools using this tool and her knowledge. So definitely possible, and people should definitely try it out.
Yeah, I'm using Make AI, so it's a free
Hmm.
platform. I don't know if you know about it. Are there
Yes.
Are there any other platforms that people could experience with, like free platforms or even paid ones? But
Yeah, so most platforms allow you to try it out, and then paid accounts would usually start at about $20, I guess, per month, and allow you to do quite a lot. Uh, and they differ in the level of technical skills needed. So I mentioned Base 44. There's Lovable, there's Bolt, there's V0, and there's going to be more and more. If you want to get a bit more technical, you can build things with Claude Code or Cursor. So definitely. Lots of possibilities out there, and I don't know when people are going to watch this, but in 3 months there's probably going to be 5 or 10 more tools out there, right? um, but I think the main thing is not the specific tool that you're using, but the mindset that you need to take on uh, when you're thinking about these tools. So coming back to where we started, you need to think about these tools as complementing or augmenting what you're able to do in your team. So imagine, if we could have 10 more team members helping us scale or serve customers better, or improve our quality of delivery, where would we put them, and what knowledge should we feed them and teach them in order for them to achieve those outcomes, right? So that's where you should start, and then say, okay, let's see if this tool is able to help us, or this tool. When work with customers, I don't come with a specific tool that I recommend. I listen to what is the need, and then I would say, hey, I think this tool, because I do research and try out the different tools, is best for your need. For example, it gives you more control, or it scales better, or some other customers need different multi-language support. So it really depends on the need, which tool you should use. Uh, but it's the mindset that's more important.
correct me if I'm wrong. I think you could use ChatGPT to create an AI agent. Is that correct?
Again, as of today, they have some capabilities there, but currently, as I said, it's mostly reactive. So you have to trigger it. You say, "Hey, I want you to do this now, and here's an input," and then it would start. I think last week they came out with something that is kind of a daily tool that is kind of scheduled, and they had operator before that. So it's not a full-fledged agent. For specific tasks, like for research, there's deep research within ChatGPT, within Gemini, within Claude. So if it's research, it is possible to use it for some of the cases. But I wouldn't call it an AI agent system.
Okay. I think it's on the paid plan too, so I don't think it's on the free plan. So
No, no, it's not under free
yeah.
anyway. Yeah, even the deep research tool. No.
Uh, any business opportunities in regards to that? Because when I was doing some research, I see people are selling AI agents and all that. So, what's your take on that?
When I talk about potential business value with AI, I try to simplify it and make it understandable for non-technical people. And I use three buckets for the opportunities. The first bucket is how can you enhance your productivity? So as more connected to some of the things that we mentioned before, where can it help us streamline, do things faster at scale, at better quality? So that's the first opportunity. The second opportunity, can you put AI agents or AI in general into your products and services? So for example, if you're just serving a certain geography because you're there and that's where your contacts are, can you expand with AI agents to other geographies, to other audiences, because of the language restrictions, because of the availability, because of the time zones, right? So maybe you can offer the same services or even more services with AI agents to different audiences. Um, and then the third one is disruption. I think that's an interesting one. That's one for the more forward-thinking members of your audience. If you look at value chains, right? Today's value chains, there's lots of opportunities there where you can say, hey, in the industry where I work, say, let's take content production, right? You're in content, right? There's a there's a tight value chain. There's people doing, production. There's people doing or companies providing all sorts of services along the value chain. Um, can I use AI agents to go up and down the value chain so that I depend less on the other members or the other companies, or I can eat into the business of other actors in this value chain? I'm not sure if it's clear. It's a bit more uh, disruptive and thinking, can I rethink my even business model, my operating model with AI agents?
Okay. What do you see this in the future?
uh, well, future depends how how long in the future you're talking about, but I would say I would not risk more than 1 or 2 years ahead because the speed of changes is so incredible. So I think AI agents in general, last year they were just like a few people talked about them, and then 2025 is the year where AI agents we've seen them, come into different functions and businesses and industries. So I think this will continue to happen even more massively in the next couple of years, especially where we're seeing the big players like Microsoft, Google, OpenAI, and others pushing for that. So that will become almost the standard on your smartphone, on your laptop. You'll have AI agents almost everywhere. Some companies are going more towards consumers. So OpenAI, ChatGPT, the company behind ChatGPT, they're kind of targeting consumers. Others are targeting more businesses and corporates. So we'll see a lot of the software being written already, and even more so by AI agents. We're seeing legal. We have legal AI agents. We have HR AI agents. Um, More and more functions we'll see, and they'll get better, as I said, and cheaper because of the competition and the quality of the underlying models. Um, if we think a bit long term, we will see new structures of organizations and businesses where there's a hybrid uh, team of humans and AI agents working together. So right now, as I said, it's like maybe on the individual level you do it, but we'll see completely new organizational structures and business operations structures with AI agents being a big part of that.
Where can people learn more about you and follow you?
Uh, so first of all, Think Big Leaders is my website, .com, thinkbigleaders.com. LinkedIn as well, Amir Elion. Again, I can provide the links. If you want to try Glory Hack, gloryhack.com, you can create several campaigns for free. Yeah, so that's and I'm just going to launch a newsletter. So if you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll see some more about AI agents, about principles of using AI, and all kinds of tips and tricks.